Thank you very much for conducting a very short interview with World Information Center, and I want you to introduce yourself to our viewers.
My name is Rupak Chattopadhyay. I'm the Vice President of the Forum of Federations, which is the international organization that's working with the Fifth Conference Secretariat to organize this conference. My own role has been that I've been involved in almost every conference that has happened over the last 10 years. So it was a great honor for us to have this conference in Ethiopia after our last conference in India.
How did you find the Fifth International Conference on Federalism, which is hosted by Ethiopia?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's splendid. You get a sense of the issues and the ideas and the culture of Ethiopia coming through. The opening ceremony was absolutely spectacular. We've been working with Addis Solomon in the Conference Secretariat for the last 2 years to finalize the program, to finalize the content, the topics, everything. So it's great to see all of this come together, because when we started working, none of this existed. So through our collaboration, we're now at a stage where everybody can benefit from the work that we've done. And I'm very excited that we now have so many people who've come to the conference, people from, I think, at least 50 or 60 countries who are here, heads of state, heads of government. I think it's important to keep the momentum of this conference going, and to share practices amongst each other.
How did you evaluate, or what is your evaluation towards the Ethiopian federalism system process, because it is young? So what is your evaluation?
I think federalism has been absolutely necessary for the success of Ethiopia. Even though it's a young federation, I think Ethiopia has been very innovative in the way that it has recognized its diversity, and instead of trying to suppress diversity, has used diversity as a strength on which to build a new country, a new sense of identity, a new economy. And the vibrancy of the Ethiopian economy, the vibrancy of its people, is based very much on the federal system and the space that it provides for the expression of one's diversity, for the expression of one's aspirations. And without, it's hard to imagine how Ethiopia would function without a federal system that you have now. And frankly, for those of us who have seen Ethiopia, I first saw Ethiopia in 1987. It was a very different country, and today, almost how many years? 20 years later, the transformation is amazing. And you see it every time I come back to Ethiopia. I'm impressed at how much activity economically is happening, and not just in Addis, but outside of Addis. The transformation is immense. And also this real engagement amongst Ethiopians with the idea of federalism, with the idea of improving their livelihoods, I think is very, very fundamental to the well-being of the people. And I think federalism has played a very important role in this. You see a new sense of self-confidence in Ethiopia over the last decade or so. So I think federalism is very, very important.
If you were present at the Millennium Hall just with Prime Minister Meles Zenawi, there were a performance displayed by the various nations, nationalities, and peoples of Ethiopia. How did you find that?
That was wonderful. The wonderful thing about these conferences is that it provides people from outside the country to experience the richness of the culture in the country. And the variety that you see in Ethiopia is amazing. And not only the performance in the Millennium Hall, but also downstairs in the conference venue, where every regional state has a stall where people can go see what's in the state. It adds to the experience of those of us coming from outside, to show how rich Ethiopia is culturally and otherwise.
There are people or scholars and politicians who say that federalism is not the best way of government forms to accommodate nations in the nation, and it is an indication for, or it led to the disintegration. So what is your comments here?
My only comment here would be, how long has Ethiopia been a federation? And see how Ethiopia has performed as a federation, as opposed to the time when Ethiopia was not a federation. And I think the answer should be very clear to anybody who can think.
Okay, let me come back to other question. That what is your evaluation towards the current status, political status, economic status, social status of Ethiopia currently?
I think Ethiopia has an economic vibrancy that one has not seen before in terms of flourishing in agriculture, in terms of education, removal of poverty. Somebody was telling me the other day that the participation rate in schools, the enrollment rate in schools, has gone from 13% of the eligible population 15 years ago to 93 or 97% I mean, this itself is an expression of how well the country is doing. And if I'm not wrong, the other figure that sticks in my head is that about a decade ago there was only one university in Ethiopia, here in Addis Ababa. Now there are 22 universities, technical colleges. So clearly the country is on the path to progress.
But I can give you the chance. Anything you want to add or comment?
I think what I would say is that this conference is the most important, one of the most important conferences we've had, because it's on the African continent, it's in a young federation, and most importantly, it looks at issues such as economic development, which other conferences have not. And Ethiopia, having it in Ethiopia, provides a venue where other countries can look to the progress Ethiopia has made as a federal state.
Okay. Thank you very much for a short and productive interview. And I hope I will see you, and I hope a good stay for you.
Thank you very much, and I thank the government of Ethiopia for its hospitality and for the wonderful conference. Thank you.